that the velocity of money in the provinces is going to go down. It's going to go down, and it's going to go down by a lot. Why? What happens in the 2 weeks before an election? Pretty much. 2 weeks before an election, prominent local politicians begin withdrawing money from the bank. Yeah, I'd like to withdraw 50,000 baht. Oh, can I get that in 100 baht bills? So they take 50,000 100 baht bills out of the bank, and then they sit on it till election day. But that means that a whole lot of bills that were in the economy and circulating suddenly aren't there anymore. They're not circulating anymore. The velocity of money is going down. And rural provinces would start to run out of 100 baht bills until after the election. Why? Well, because you don't have to pay 1,000 baht for a vote. You can usually get a vote for 300 baht. So we need a lot of 100 baht bills, and they gather them up before the election and they start disappearing. The only way to keep the economy functioning efficiently is to make sure there's a lot of extra bills out there until after the election. And then you gather up all these extra bills you brought up, and then you bring them back to Bangkok. So that's why we actually pay attention to things like the velocity of money. That said, from now on, this is fixed. When I put a bar or a hat over something, that means fixed. It's not going to change. It can change, and for technical purposes, those things are important, but way beyond the scope of anything we're doing. So from now on, the velocity of money is fixed at 1. The velocity of money will always be 1. Now over here, you have prices. Prices are pretty obvious. That's the price you pay. And this is transactions. I'm drawing it as T for transactions. Sometimes we're going to use Y. But transactions and income are the same thing, just measured in different ways. If I buy something from him, and I give him 1,000 baht, I have made a transaction. His income has gone up by 1,000 baht. We can measure it from either side. We can measure everything that people pay, or we can measure everything that people earn. Although, when economists do this, we never get the numbers to match up. They never match up correctly. If we're lucky, we get within 10% right. So sometimes we do it this way, sometimes we do it this way. Because under certain circumstances, one is better than the other. So, transactions. And what is a transaction? That's all the purchases. So, MV equals PT. Let's say there are 20 transactions in the economy. 20 things are purchased in the economy. Okay, normally about 20 things get purchased in the economy every 10th of a second. But let's keep, I want simple numbers. Do you want simple numbers or do you want realistic numbers?
Simple.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. you are absolutely correct. So we're going to use simple numbers. This is not purely representative of the economy, it's a model. But it does give us insight. How much money does the government have out there? 10. The government has created 10 coins, 10 1-baht coins. So there's 10 baht in the economy. The velocity is equal to 1 by assumption. We're just going to assume that it's 1 to keep everything simple. What's the price level?
0.5.
1/2. It has to be. There are 20 things in the economy. They're all going to be purchased once. But there's only 10 baht in the economy. So the price is going to end up being 1/2. That allows all the money to purchase all the goods. If the price level was higher, if the price level was 1, we could only purchase half the goods. But that means the other half of the goods aren't getting sold. So what will those sellers do? They'll start lowering the price. And as they lower the price, people won't buy the 1 baht versions, they'll buy the cheaper ones until the market clears. Likewise, if the price is really, really low, people will bid the price up. Just regular old supply and demand. So this is an identity. And this is called the quantity theory of money. So far, so good? What happens if the government increases the money supply? The what? Velocity is how fast the money goes through the economy. Think back to the 50 baht example I gave you, where that 50 baht transferred hands 7 times. The faster the velocity of money, the less money you actually need to have in the economy. Here's a question. How much average currency is there? Like printed out paper currency like this in Thailand? In other words, on average, how much money do Thai people carry in their wallets? $20,000 baht? Probably not 20,000 baht. 300 to 1,000. Probably thereabout. I think it's around 700 baht a person in currency. No, that doesn't mean people only have 700 baht. But it means that a 100 baht bill is going through the economy so fast that you don't need that many of them. And most of us have our money in the bank, or we bought a house, we have a car, we have lots of value far beyond the actual bills in the economy. What's the amount for the US? What? $20? That would actually be less than 700 baht. $3? You can't buy a can of Coke in the US for $3. Oh, yes, you can. You can't buy a Starbucks coffee for $3. About 50 bucks. That would be the equivalent of 1,500 baht. Does that sound about right? The actual number is higher. It's about $3,500. Why? That's a good question. There's 2 reasons. 1, dollarization. And 2, international trade special. Let's cover dollarization first. You ever been to Cambodia? Anyone here been to Cambodia? One person. How many of you have been to Europe? 5 or 6. How many have been to the US? About a dozen. And 1 person has been to Cambodia. This is something I did not know about Southeast Asia until I had moved here. Southeast Asia is 10 countries that all think they border France and England. That really is what you are. You know far more about France and England than you do about any of your neighbors. And you're more likely to travel to France or England than to your neighbors. What's the currency they use in Cambodia?
Thái mẹ người bà cha này là
Not gold, there's not enough of it, and it's too hard to deal with. So what do they use instead? Do they use their own currency?
อย่างที่มึงพูดมาไม่เข้ากล้องเลยจะคุ
Do
ย
they
คุย
want to use their own currency?
ฟังไอ้ผีเรื่องอะไร
Merchants in Cambodia, what currency do they prefer? Dollars or baht? No, they'll also take baht. And so when I went to Cambodia, prices were always listed in dollars and baht, and the Cambodian, I want to say the real. It was listed in those three prices. They were perfectly happy to take dollars and baht. And why was that? The reason is because Cambodia destroyed their currency. Cambodia destroyed their money supply. People didn't want to use the currency anymore. So there's one of two currencies you use. You use the dollar, because there's dollars everywhere, or you use the currency of the largest stable country next to you, which in the case of Cambodia was Thailand. That's what you do. But you don't use your own worthless currency that has been destroyed by the government. And we call this dollarization. There are multiple countries in the world at any given time that have dollarized. Right now, Venezuela is in the process of dollarizing because their inflation rate is more than 1,000% a month. No one wants to hold on to that currency in circumstances like that. Zimbabwe already dollarized. There are other, Cambodia is moving away from dollarization, but they're not there yet. They need a stable currency for at least 10 years before people will start to trust it. So that's part of why there's so much U.S. currency in the rest of the world. About 80 to 90% of U.S. currency is not in the U.S. The other reason is for international trade. But not all international trade. Most of that is just handled through standard banking. But there's one industry that needs a lot of actual currency. It's a very large international industry, but they need to use currency. They can't use the banking system for it. When you need to study for my exam, and you haven't studied, and now there's only 2 days left, and you need to study straight for 2 days, so you say, oh my God, how can I stay up straight for 2 days? Red Bull and Java. So you call up your Java dealer and say, hey, here's my credit card. Can I have some Java? Can you do that? You cannot buy your Java using a credit card. Drug dealers don't take credit cards. They don't take checks. They don't take interbank deposits. What they take is cash. The international drug trade is done in cash. And cash means dollars. If methamphetamine producers in Burma are buying ingredients from China, bringing them to Burma, turning it into pills, sending it on to Thailand, are they doing this in Thai, Burmese, and Chinese currency? They're doing as little of it as possible in those three currencies. Because every time they exchange currency, well, that looks suspicious. The more of these things, and then the government said, why are you exchanging currency all the time?